Hey Radiant Souls, welcome back to my channel. One of the things I've been guided to do for 2022 is to bring you an energy forecast each month. So these are just kind of lookouts, call outs, things to bring to your awareness so that you can better work with the energies in any given month. So it's not really based in astrology, it's not based in human design, it's stuff that I've channeled. And I want to bring that to you for January 22. So if you will stay with me for that, we will get right to it. But for those of you who are new here, my name's Heather Mays. I'm an animal communicator, intuitive counselor, author, artist. What else am I? Energy healer. I got a lot of little tags going after my name, but I am on a mission to empower and embolden others to connect with their divine radiant light and honor the sacred connection with all life. So that's kind of what I do here. I share things that I have channeled from my guides. I'm also like a personal development coach, so I share some of that information as well. Hope that you'll stay tuned as we go forward. So for the layout of these energy forecasts, the way it's going to go is first, I'm just going to have a general conversation around the channeled message that I received. So what happened is I got like a little knock on my intuitive door, and information starts to unfold and kind of enlarge. It comes in really quickly, and then I sit with it for a few days to kind of pick it apart, sort it out, sift through it so that it makes sense to us, and I kind of present it in a logical sort of fashion. So first will be a conversation around the general messages that came through. The second step is going to be a word. Might be more than one, or might be a phrase, but today it's a word that kind of represents or is something that we need to focus on, maybe meditate on, just have in your awareness as you go throughout the month. So we'll talk about that. The third is an animal totem that has asked to come in and provide support for you. And then after that, there is a natural element as well that is supportive and helpful for navigating the energies of the month. And then there's an affirmation that I'm going to share with you that you can use throughout the month. And then, because it's me and it's my thing that I do, there is an intuitive art piece that represents, back to that word in that second step, that word that represents the month. I've also pulled down an intuitive art piece for it. So that piece of art is free to download, and I'll put the link below, free to download for the entire month that particular theme is active. So for this, it would be January 2022. It's available for purchase after that. It's available as part of my collection of energy frequency art. If you have that, you'll get it just sent to you. And then I just want to say too, overall, so we're talking about January 2022. If you are coming to this after that, there may still be things here that apply for you, that are resonant for you, that are helpful for you. So trust that you were called to watch this video, even if it isn't, like if it's, April 4th, 2022, and you're like, oh shoot, I missed the January forecast. There could still be elements of this and messages within this presentation that apply to you. So although there are themes and consistencies specific to a month's energy, there may be things that apply to individuals outside of that month. So I hope you'll stay tuned and pay attention, and just pull what resonates, keep what resonates with you, and throw away what doesn't. Because one of the things we're going to talk about for 2022 in general, one of the things we are moving through as a species, as a planet, as a collective, is the dissolution of duality. So some of the things we're going to talk about today are looking at that in our own lives and how that applies. But the other piece of information I kind of have attached to that, or tagged onto that, is that truth always comes from a perspective. So you can have a personal truth, I can have a personal truth. The only time truth isn't colored by a perspective is when we are fully at source, and then everything is just information. and we're able to see all the perspectives without necessarily wearing our own glasses, so to speak, or the glasses of someone else. We see them all. We see the truth in all of them. We see how they interrelate, how they were perfectly valid. So yeah, just keep that in mind that, if something doesn't work for you, don't worry about it, toss it out. It's no big deal. So the main thing for January is holding space for yourself and holding grace for yourself. Those were the first two messages that came through. And if you see me looking down, I have like 7 pages of notes because I didn't want to leave anything out. It was a pretty big message that came through. So I'm going to talk a little bit in metaphor today. The imagery that I was getting for this was, if you think of building a house in a neighborhood or a building in a complex of other buildings, the first thing you want to do is have a blueprint for it. And then there's a clearing that needs to take place. You might need to level the land. You might need to assess the land. You might need to, if there's a building or a house already there, you have to move the occupants out and you have to take things down and redo and kind of pull apart. But you're doing that pulling apart with the vision that you have in mind of what you want to be. So you have your blueprint of what you want in your life. This can be at the microcosm for you or the macrocosm for the collective as well. But you start with that blueprint and then you're taking things apart and you're seeing where maybe you could repurpose something, you could reuse it, or maybe it needs to be thrown away or sent and donated somewhere else to someone else. So when we're looking at January, a lot of what we're doing is that inside work of, do I have my blueprint in order? Did I get the plans approved by the city, so to speak? Is it the way that I want it to be? If not, what can I tweak? What can I erase? What can I move from here to there? And then in the existing structure of my life, my current building, my house, which is your energy aura, just you, what needs to be tweaked to better fit the upcoming vision? So you are the creator and architect of this for yourself. But through that resonance, so you're building your own house in this neighborhood, but you doing that with that specific resonance makes the neighborhood have that same resonance as well. So when you have, neighborhoods tend to have a vibe or a feel, and somebody moves in and, they do upgrades on their house, and then will the property values go up for everybody in the neighborhood? That's kind of what we're talking about. You're doing upgrades on yourself, and so that's going to ripple out and have a frequency effect and a resonance effect to other people around you. We do that enough, it ripples out to the collective and out to the world. And that is how we affect change. It starts always with ourselves and with the work that we do on and for ourselves. So that being said, those of us who are sensitive to energy, this primarily the first quarter of 2022, even through the end of the year, but I think it'll dissipate a little bit as we go past spring, well, in the Northern Hemisphere. But as we start to go through the year, we're going to feel itchy. We're going to feel out of place. We're going to feel a little uncomfortable. And that is because you're upgrading your house, you're doing your work, but the neighborhood isn't ready yet. So you are that house that did all the upgrades and is like a mansion down here at the end of the road, while everybody else is still maybe figuring out what they want to do. So for us, that can kind of feel like we're out of step, we're disjointed. Energetically, I liken it to when you have, like when your hand or foot falls asleep and it starts to come awake and you've got those kind of pins and needles. We're gonna have energetic pins and needles. So there may be things like sleeplessness, like needing to get more sleep, like headaches, dehydration, I feel is one, because Water moves energy and electricity and conducts electricity. So if if we're moving more energy, we need more water uptake or intake. So the other way to think about this kind of misstep in energy, and if you don't feel it, please don't do the thing. Sorry, I get fidgety. Please don't do the thing where you're like, oh, I must not be energetically sensitive because I had a great January. That's okay. That doesn't mean you're not sensitive. It doesn't mean you're not an intuitive. Your house might have already been, your property value already went up. That's okay. You'll have your turn to feel uncomfortable. Don't worry. I'm sure we all will. We go through things differently. So even though there is a collective energy to a month, it may not apply to you. That doesn't mean you're stuck in third density, that you're not ascending, that there is something flawed with you. So I want to mention that too. But two ways I like to describe that kind of energy discomfort that I'm talking about. If you've watched the Harry Potter movies, and if you haven't, I've got a second example for you. But if you've watched Harry Potter, when there's a point when they teleport and Ron is like halfway between worlds, he's like at one location, but they pull him through too fast, or somebody's tugging on him from the other end, I think, and he gets splinched is the word I think they use, where his energy is kind of in two places. That's us. We're going to be kind of splinched in January. The other example I like to think of is if you've ever been on a diet or you've wanted to reshape your body. Women, sometimes we get the outfit that we don't fit into yet because it's motivation. Like, oh, I'm going to get that size 4 dress because after I lose the weight, that's my treat to myself. So I'm going to see it in the closet and I'm going to know that eventually I'm going to fit into it. So that's us. We're seeing where we want to be, but we still got to do some more work on ourselves before we can fit in that dress, before we can get to where we want to go. So the word that kept coming through for me for January is atonement. So on its own, it's a pretty good word. Making reparation or coming to terms for an offense or an injury. But the way I keep seeing it presented to me is we take we make the one in the middle of that word, atonement, at one meant. Where can you be aligned at one with yourself in the moment? So at one meant is how they're saying it. So harnessing your energy and really looking at where are you spending that energy where it is not on your highest timeline anymore, without judgment. We're human, we're here to learn, we're here to be flexible and make decisions and change our minds. That's part of what we do. But January is the time to get your proverbial ducks in a row. Look at that energy for yourself. Where am I investing it? Where am I spending it? Where it's not on my highest timeline, and then calling that energy back to you so that you are harnessing it for the present moment. The present moment is so important because that is our creative steering wheel. That's all we have. We only exist in the present moment. Any memories that you have are in your imagination. Any future that you're envisioning is in your imagination. What you have to call that future to you is the present moment. So harness that energy, bring those pieces of yourself back. And it might be emotions from your past, worries from your future. Back to our construction metaphor, maybe you just have your eyes on somebody else's paper a little too much, like you're watching somebody else's blueprint more than your own. So here's where Heather's metaphors are going to get a little strange, but stick with me. I like it. I think it makes sense, but it may not, but I'm going to go with it anyway. I was watching a travel vlog not too long ago, maybe about a month ago, where they went to Chernobyl. So if you've been living under a rock, in Chernobyl, there was a nuclear accident in 1986. And these individuals were traveling, I think, in 2019 to Chernobyl. And there's like zones of increasing contamination. There's one reactor in particular where the accident happened, and then there are like 10-mile increments where they called it different zones. And they were given these radiation detection devices that they were supposed to wear, but then they could also take them off and kind of scan near things. So they would like scan a plant on the ground or scan a children's playground or things like that. And depending on the level of radiation, you would see a spike in the number on that device, and you might hear like a warning sound. So as you might expect, things closer to where the accident happened were more reactive. They had a higher reading on that number. But what was interesting, and trust me, I'm pulling this all together. What was interesting was things in like a safer zone away from the nuclear reactor where the actual accident happened. You would see random huge spikes in radiation just out and about. So where this is coming back, and it was maybe that someone had buried a shovel that they used to pick up debris, or there was a glove of someone who worked at the site, and they did try to concentrate all of that stuff and have good practices, but there were just some things that ended up other places, or it could be something that blew from somewhere else. So the parallel here that I want you to think about in my twisted little mind, how this all comes together, is that in our own lives, where do we see those concentrations of toxic energy? They might be where we expect them. They might be, the childhood trauma or the bad relationship or the job where we didn't feel we got what we deserved. But our minds are tricky, and our energy might find a weak spot where it likes to kind of hang out somewhere unexpected. So while you're doing this self-assessment of looking at where you aren't at, one, in the moment, atonement, look for those peaks of toxic energy where they might not be expected. So think about things like, where have you fractured your energy off? So where have you been maybe out of alignment with yourself? Where have you gone back on your word with yourself? Where have you maybe broken a promise with yourself? Where have you justified something for yourself when you knew you were twisting the story just a little bit? Because those are places that are toxic. They're holding some toxic energy for you. They're going to peak on that reader. They're going to beep at you. They're going to keep you from having your atonement, from having your energy all in the present moment. So, look for those moments and feel into. You can journal if you want. You can meditate about it. You can talk to a friend about it. Hire a practitioner, work through it with you, whatever works for you. But look for those times where your energy was a little bit fractured and a little bit toxic. And you want to pull those back to you. So again, you're harnessing that energy for yourself in the present moment. So also thinking about, even in the present moment, where are you not consistent with what you want to see in the future? If you want to live in the mansion, this is a terrible example. If you want to live in the mansion, are you going to the bathroom in a 5-gallon bucket? That's that's inconsistent. I don't know why my mind gives me these examples. But to take it like a little less picturesque than that, if you want to lead a life where you're happy and joyful, where in your current moment, right now, you need to be happy and joyful. You come first. Your blueprint comes first. It's not something happens and then you are happy. It's not cause and effect. That's the old model. That's the Newtonian model. That's third dimensional stuff. It is affecting a cause. You go first. Your energy leads, your energy forward. You are the blueprint for what you want to craft. So if you want to, in your future, say, I want to have like just days and days where I daydream and I'm happy and I laugh and I do fun things, do them now. That's what draws that energy to you. Or at the very least, if you feel like, oh, I can't quite get there. I can't quite have the giggly happy stuff because I've got this toxic energy I got to clean up. Then at least identify it and see where you're not in that version of yourself yet, because that awareness is going to help you shape and shift that for yourself, because you're going to catch those thoughts as they come up. Wait a minute, that was a bad thought. I'm supposed to be like having fun. I'm happy in my future. I better solve whatever this was that didn't match up with that. So you can do it with thoughts, you can do it with emotions, and just see where you are out of alignment with what you want to be. All right, let me check my notes and see where we're going. Yeah, the other thing to look for in your atonement is, where are you stuck in duality? Because remember, I said overall 2022 is the dissolution of duality. So when you are looking back at recalling that energy to you, or looking for those toxic energy points that might be in surprising locations, think about, when you look at them, was I living in duality? Was it me versus them? Good versus bad? Right versus wrong? And again, don't judge it for yourself, because that's dualistic too, but just be aware of it. And how can you rewrite that story to say, I did the best I could in that moment? Because as humans, our decisions often are to move us away from pain. Have tenderness and compassion with yourself, because you were just navigating a really complicated existence and trying to keep yourself safe and out of pain. So have compassion, but look at that. Soften that duality. And I do want to mention too that if we're thinking about 5th dimension and moving into the 5th dimension, duality doesn't cease to exist. The 5th dimension is not some like bus stop we get off and everything's perfect. It's not a utopia. There is still coloration or a duality of sorts, but where we are right now, it's black and white on the spectrum. 5th dimension and other dimensional energies, it's more light gray, dark gray. Like there's still a difference, but it's not as in extreme. We are in a world of extremes. I'm sure none of you need me to explain that to you. So as we are moving on, the animal totem that wanted to come forward, Dexter thought we were done. He was like, yeah, let's go. The animal totem that wants to come forward to assist you. If you want help, if you want assistance, you want some energetic, like amplitude helping you out with this work that you're being asked to do. And again, this is all loving guidance to help you navigate through some of the energies of 2022, starting with January. So for January, the animal totem is a snail. So if you think about a snail, it is self-contained. It's that one home. It's not worried about the neighborhood. It is that one thing, carries its house with it on its back. It's very self-nurturing, takes a slow pace. It's not in any hurry. And on its shell is a spiral representing travel and growth and the process. And the other piece of snail energy I want to have you think of is that kind of the slime trail that they leave. What have you left behind? So again, thinking about that energy that might be stuck in the past, stuck in a judgment, invested somewhere that is no longer on your highest timeline. The element that wants to assist is wind. So that's for a couple of reasons. Wind is amazing in nature because without wind, trees don't get strong. They need the resistance of the wind to help them dig deeper roots and expand their roots. Wind is also a great agent for change, as I'm sure many of you know. In fact, just here last week, actually not even last week, I don't know what I'm talking about. Time is an illusion. By the way, yesterday, there was a big wind storm, and I walked out into my backyard and there were grocery bags in trees and like squirrel nests all kind of deconstructed and just all these different things in my eye line or my sight line that weren't usually there. Allow wind to work with you. the energy of wind, the essence of wind, to see what is blowing around you. What do you need to care for? What do you need to notice that you may not be paying attention to? So with that, the next thing was the affirmation. So the affirmation for January is, I am present, I am whole, I am a creator. Pretty simple. I am present, I am whole, I am a creator. So as you are doing some of these activities, as you're thinking about, why did the crazy woman on YouTube tell me I needed to call in the energy of a snail and look at my own slime? Think about, I am present, I am whole, I am a creator. And then I'm gonna show you in just a minute the energetic frequency art that helps calibrate and activate this work for you. So again, while you are doing some of these tasks, if you feel called to do them, you can use this art as well. You can download it for free. Again, I'll put the link below. It's for free for the month that it applies. So until the end of January 2022, and then it's available for purchase. But you can get that. You can use that to help activate you and bring your energy up to a level that helps you do the work. So, first one of these of the year. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this kind of thing, if you stuck around until the very end, thank you so much. Drop me a comment below. Let me know if you liked it. I'm open to possibly doing some of these live so that we can have some Q&A. But I don't know. So let me know if you liked it and would like to see that going forward. Leave me a comment. I hope you have a most amazing day, a most amazing January. Ride out this energy, do this work, have atonement at 1 mint with yourself, and I will see you with the next energy forecast in February. Bye.